Holiday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Holiday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Holiday. Holiday, bring it on.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country. Anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. Goldbelly ships Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garden's famous cakes. So, if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's goldbelly.com, promo code GIFT.
Pie in the Sky Media.
Three, two, one. We're live. Welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation, to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Branden. Very special episode tonight. A very important week for Carolyn's company, Pie in the Sky Media, and for us as podcasters. So tomorrow, which will be today when you're listening to this, is the launch of a brand new show from Pie in the Sky Media. And we partnered with Castle Podcasts and with Lemonada Media, and it is called Stolen Voices of Dole Valley. And it's something that I'm incredibly proud to have been a small part of. And the whole show was spearheaded by my partner here, Carolyn Osorio. Carolyn, how are you?
I'm doing great, Branden. Thank you for that wind up. Thank you.
It's been a long road to get here, and
it's been a long road. Long and winding road.
Bum, 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 that leads
to your. Okay.
It's one of the greatest songs ever. Wow.
It truly is.
Makes me
Do you
cry.
know that was about him and John Lennon?
Now it's even, I like it even more. Really?
I know. Yeah. I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
It's heartbreaking. It's so authentic.
I know.
And honest.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all,
see, I got you off your fucking game before you even got out see, I have to tell it.
I would like to know how you're feeling on the eve of the launch of the show, because I know how much you've put into it. And I just want to know how you're feeling.
I feel like really excited, but it also feels like I almost can't believe it. Like I was listening to our interview that we did with the Clark County Sheriff's Office, and I sent you a little clip and I titled it Dorks because you were doing your dorky thing. I was doing my dorky thing. But when
it was very funny.
It was so dorky and
very,
just
very
like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
For those listening, Dumb and Dumber is even better. Oh my gosh. I can picture which one of us is driving and you're behind me and then it's like freezing, right? Okay, just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Just go, man. Just
go.
Just
go. Okay. So, but during that, we were talking about seriously talking about it was going to launch in February. And this was however many months ago. So it just has felt like this, process to get here. But honestly, it feels so right. It feels like everything is in place and it feels like, but there's obviously that pressure to have it do well. But at the end of the day, I always feel like how I truly, truly feel is that I know that I've done everything I possibly can. There's not a miss, I didn't cut corners, intentionally, or maybe there's something that, I'm not aware of, but it was, I put the time and energy into it. And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. So I feel good.
Good. I would very strongly agree that you have left no investigative or creative stone unturned in this process. It's been great to watch and to and to work alongside you. And so let's back up a little bit and just let our
Yeah.
listeners know, because as longtime listeners of Criminal Mischief, this is a show for you. This is something that while you're listening to this, I'd love for you to go over to Apple Podcasts and follow it, because you'll get it. You'll understand, because you know the kind of work that Carolyn does, and this is one of those. I'm going to sound like a douche saying it, but this is a really important show, right?
Absolutely.
It's like
And
how
and honestly, if I can just cut you off for 1 second, because I think it's really important. Our listeners are actually from the Shadow Girls, so they know, you know, the I love Criminal Mischief because I get to do different episodes every week. But what my heart really loves is this long form, deep dive investigation, getting to know the victims, getting to know the family, family members, getting to know law enforcement, working together in this kind of synergistic way to create change,
Mm,
whether that's through storytelling and giving voice to people who haven't had a voice, or being a conduit to, in a small way, like we did with the Shadow Girls, to the Rebecca story.
mm.
And I feel like Stolen Voices of Dole Valley is an opportunity to do that as well. To not just stand on a soapbox and like point out all the mistakes other people make, but to just really tell the story, and how complicated people are, and the world is, and our place in it. And um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like I really, with Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, with the Shadow Girls, those are opportunities for me to really dig deep. And that's what I enjoy about it the most.
And you play to your strengths in this a lot in terms of getting sources to trust you and to open up to you, and because just by the nature of your character and how you go about your business, people know that they can trust you. Sometimes it takes a little while to warm up, but you always seem to land the fish, like you get the interview, you get the quote, you get the details, and it also plays to your strength in terms of victim advocacy, which was on display in the Shadow Girls and is on full display here in this. Um,
Mhm.
and also, similarly, there were some elements in the Shadow Girls about, we'll say, questionable investigative or police tactics. Okay, and unfortunately, there are elements of that in this story as well. There are parts of it, listeners, I'm telling you, that are gonna really piss you off, and that are gonna make you say, "No fucking way, is this true?" And then, and it is, it is. And so the
Mhm.
tagline that we came up with was a serial killer you've never heard of, and victims and survivors that you won't be able to forget. And that really encapsulates the show.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and I think that again, that's not you talked about eventually landing the fish, getting the interview or whatever. I think that I end up getting in touch with people that, they see when you're willing to do the work and you're not going away. That's another piece that
Hmm.
I absolutely love, which is the door getting slammed in my face, and whether that's literally or proverbially, and like I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I think that um, the people that I end up writing about or talking about, they have that same kind of thing, like often, in different ways, whether that's a detective, whether that's a family member, and I do think my hope is that people will get angry, but they're also going to get inspired. They're going to be sad. It's the full gamut of emotions, the human condition, and just, um, it always reminds me, we've talked about this before, but that movie with Kiefer Sutherland where he's like, he has to know what happened to his girlfriend or something.
Vanishing
And
or
then
vanished, something with vanish.
yeah, right. And he like he keeps doing it, and then he finally finds out what happens to her,
Oh,
which has ended up in a
he was
pine
willing to
box.
do it himself to figure out. So yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know, and I always feel like I don't want victims and family members to have to do that, obviously, but I want people, their stories to be told. That's really important to me. Is like when people go through like the work, like with the Shadow Girls and the Green River Killer case, it was like what these women went through, these young girls went through, and people didn't know the gory details of the whole thing, and what Norma went through, Norma Jean Countryman, chewing through the bindings, going through everything that she went through, and then to not be believed, and then to have not really a lot of people know about that story, and to go through her entire life pretty much and having it affect generational trauma with her family, and like really seeing in a case like this where it spans 50 years, where you can see what happens in a family. It's not just the person that this happens to, right? It's like their kids and their kids' kids, and so we'll see that, because I interview not only Norma but also her daughter,
Yep.
who was also the survivor of a horrific sexual assault. And that's something that Norma did everything she could to avoid. Was like the overprotective mom to the massive extreme. And it's just like, anyway, I just think there's lessons to be learned.
Yeah, so
So,
we got a little ahead of ourselves there, and spoiler alert, but Carolyn Carolyn mentioned a woman named Norma Jean Countryman who, back in the 70s, was a 15-year-old girl, just bored with nothing to do, and was out, hitchhiking, smoking cigarettes, and got in the wrong car. And it's one of those
but she wasn't
stories.
hitchhiking.
I'm sorry. She was not hitchhiking. She was sitting by the side of the road, just watching the world go by in a world without cell phones, in a world without really anything. Um,
Mhm.
and was approached and, like I said, got in the wrong van, and was able to find in her a resilience and grit and a desire to survive that will blow your mind. Um, and for her to go through what she went through and then to be dismissed by law enforcement, that's one of the times where you're going to want to tear your hair out listening to this, because there were real world life and death consequences to that decision by law enforcement,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And being the type of uh, don't say no, give me the answer, journalist that Carolyn is, you hear it from the mouth of the officer. Yeah, I fucked up. And it's a really powerful moment that you're not going to want to miss. So again, go over to Apple Podcasts, Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, wherever you get it, and follow the show. 2 episodes drop on the 19th, which if you're listening to this on Tuesday, which is today, um, and it's a 9 episode season, and there will be a handful of bonus episodes because we just had so much great stuff. Um, and that there's a lot of extra content. There will be video. There's a YouTube element to this. You can follow it on socials. And so, Carolyn, through all of the people that you talk to on it, who stands out the most? Who did you talk to that had the biggest impact on you?
You know, there's not one person. I mean, Norma obviously is, you can't, I couldn't, that's what I heard about her story, and that's what I was in, because I was so angry. I was so like, how could she not be believed? And I saw the photos, you've seen the photos, and
Yeah,
I'm like, how could they not have believed,
right. You can
And
go to, you can
I
see the
think that
photos. You can see the photos on the website, by the way. What's the website?
um stolenvoicespod.com.
Stolenvoicespod.com, and you can see the
Yeah.
photographs that Carolyn's talking
Mhm.
about. Sorry
And
to
and you
interrupt you,
can
Carolyn.
follow us on social. No, no.
Yep.
And so that was really the I had to know more. I had to talk to Norma. I had to understand what happened, and she was so gracious. I've interviewed her so many times, and she um and this rope that was described, and it's a through line throughout the show. And it was actually born out of our creativity together, which is one of the things that I enjoy so much about our partnership is the pinging off of each other. And you read the first draft and you were like, okay, tell me more about the rope. I want to know more. And I think you were thinking, I just want to know a little bit more. And of course, I just was like, let me just go to town.
I learned more than to know ever about rope, but
I
that's
know,
cool.
but
It's a fantastic metaphor for the story.
and that's something that that was the brainchild between the both of us. And I think that like it has resonated with people. It's so funny because I think that's the thing that, like, as I'm thinking about it now, it brings me so much joy and the community aspect that has been built around this. Where once I started talking about the rope, and I started talking about it like, well, my producing partner Brandon and I were talking about this and this analogy with the rope, and they just picked up on it, and their language became about the rope, and then I was able to use those clips throughout the show because people just love this idea of taking this rope that was in a serial killer's kill kit that he used to bind and torture and he's still alive, a sexual sadist. And so he would do things like put a noose around their neck, and then they thought when he pulled it that they were going to, get hung or choked out, and it was a slip knot, so it slipped away. So he was really getting off on the torture aspect of it. I mean, what these young women endured, the ones that survived, tell us what they went through. But as I was the flip side of that, and this is what I absolutely love, is taking the power back and utilizing like people like Star, who has never given up on trying to find her sister, who has been pivotal in helping me, excuse me, connect with these other folks. And I give her not give her, but I assign her as like a steward of the show in a different way than Norma is. And she's the person that went and collected all of these loose strands that by themselves were just twisting in the wind. And she collected them all, this idea of the power of restringing it together, and then bonding us all together and everybody doing their part. Now that sounds super Pollyanna-ish, and I don't mean to sound like that, but it's like incredible what people have done. And then just the serendipity of things coming together to create, another murder charge for him. So, and we're hoping, I don't want to get ahead of it, but like there's DNA, he's still alive. There's victims that need to be found and cases that need to be, he needs to be held accountable for what he's done.
Yeah.
The Disney Plus Hulu HBO Max bundle. Plans starting at just $16.99 a month.
No one will ever break us apart.
Catch Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts: The New Avengers on Disney Plus.
You can't escape the past.
Alien Earth on Hulu.
This ship collected monsters.
And Final Destination: Bloodlines on HBO Max.
Death is coming for our family.
The Disney Plus Hulu HBO Max bundle. Plans starting at $16.99 a month. All these and more streaming soon. Visit Disney Plus Hulu HBO Max bundle.com for details.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
To you, my darling.
No, to you.
The Roses were living the dream.
More champagne for me, please.
Until it all came crashing down.
He got fired. Fired?
From the director of Meet the Parents.
You're a failure. Women don't like that.
If you need a shoulder or an inner thigh to lean on.
On August 29th.
I just want the house.
We want everything.
Wow.
Stop.
Yes, go!
And see The Roses.
These people.
The Roses. Rated R. Under 17, not a minute without parent. In theaters everywhere, August 29th.
So you mentioned Norma and Star. Norma, I love Norma. I like to think that I have that in me, right? that level
What?
of willingness to survive. Like I would chew through shit. I'll cut my fucking leg off to get out of a bear trap, whatever. Like I like to think I have that kind of grit, you know? And so I like I I'm hyping myself up, but I like to think I'm a kindred spirit with Norma. When it comes to Star's involvement in this affected me the most because
Mm,
um, I find it difficult to even imagine her life these last 50 years. You know, because
mm,
I have siblings. I don't want to think about losing one of them, and let alone uh, not being sure what happened, and carrying that
mhm,
torch and wanting justice and not seeking closure, seeking justice. You know, because
mhm.
she's honest with like there's never really closure. There's never like you hear Billy Bob Thornton talk about losing his brother, and he said, "I haven't been happy a day
Mhm,
since," you know, and I'm sure that's Star, you know. So
mhm,
this like that's a much quieter, deeper like reservoir of strength than summoning, you know, the through adrenaline stuff to chew through your rope and to survive. Both are extraordinary feats of human endurance, right?
mhm, mhm,
One just think of how many times Star had the chance to just fucking give up and give in to despair and maybe start fucking drinking or whatever, you know.
mhm,
But here
mhm.
she is. She's talking to people like you, she's talking to people like me and keeping her sister's memory alive. And that is both inspiring and heartbreaking. And so her story is what affected me the most in this.
It's sorry, it's so interesting to hear you say that because I actually met Star on the page of all of the public disclosure request documents. I met her there before I actually interviewed her, and I saw her quiet strength of like every month on Jamie's, December 7th, 1971. Every month she would send an email, and it was always like super nice and super like, and how are you? And but behind that, there was this absolute strategy, this absolute like she is not going away.
Yeah.
And that I love that about her. I
Yeah.
freaking love that because it's so powerful. Just that it's a different kind of grit. It's like what you were talking about, the difference between Norma and Star. It's like you can't even compare them. But when you think about Star's story, just she's not giving up. And
Yeah.
I love that. And that's what when we first started Full Circle, that's what I'm so drawn to people like that who have exhibit, you know, core values, whether they know it or not, of just, I'm not giving up. I'm
Right.
not going
And we
away.
haven't even discussed, and I don't want to discuss too much because I don't want to give it away, but there's the Jane Doe in this story. If you want to talk about
Mhm,
not giving up,
mhm,
okay.
mhm.
And I don't want to give anything away, but that's a story
Yeah.
that people are really going to want to hear. And they'll have a hard time believing both sides. They'll have a hard time
Mhm,
believing that a human could willingly inflict that kind of torture
mhm,
and damage
mhm,
to a person. And then conversely,
mhm.
that a person would be able to withstand it and more than withstand it to get away from it, you know? Um, so
But
yeah,
you know what? I this is actually reminding me of something that I want to talk about with you is that I'm sure you'll remember this, but when when I first and this is what's so great about talking with people to make you better, okay? um, and listening to other points of view to make you better. Because I gave you episode 3 and you were reading it and it was when we met the detective or the deputy who didn't believe her,
yeah,
thought she was making up a story. He believed something, but he wasn't sure. There was his gut. And I was still so angry with it. I was still so, um, upset by it. My emotions were getting in there. And you were like, I want you to write it from his perspective.
mm.
And I was like, I was ready to
You're like,
like,
no,
I can't, I just, I couldn't bear to think of doing that. But what was great is when I did do that, because, and we talked about this. He feels tremendous guilt that he didn't believe her. And he was like, I was a rookie. I didn't have the training.
mm.
I would handle it so much differently now. But we both had that feeling after listening to the interview that I did with him, where it's like he almost got there, that humility of
Right.
almost getting there to say, I'm sorry, but then he had to walk it back, that not being accountable. And I think that that's when you talk about the layers of things and why cases like this are relevant today, the Trojan horse, so many other societal issues going on here that we're addressing through storytelling, not through like, let me just tell you what to think and what to feel, right?
Yeah.
Which I can't stand. But we got there, through this Pillsbury character. And I think that that's the depth of emotion that we're dealing with because Norma will never forgive him probably. But I think maybe when she hears this, she'll I don't think she's ever, I think she said he said hello to her at the trial, this latest trial in 2023, but they've never had a healing. Like they've never had that where they come together and I'm sure he would probably start crying and I'm sure she'd probably start crying and I'm sure it would be incredibly cathartic for both of them.
Or she could,
Um,
or she might knee him in the nuts. You never know.
you know what? You're
Norma's a
you're
tough
you're
woman.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. But I think in the absence of that, I think that people like whether it's just people are listening, they're going to get something out of it. But I also hope that, the people that have, shared their stories, with us and, they'll get something out of it too. Multiple layers of getting something out of it.
I think so. Oh, definitely. There's no way you're going to listen to it and not be moved or touched by it.
Mhm.
It's a tough listen. It's an exciting listen. It moves quick. It's well written. The score is terrific. The way the episodes are structured, it's listen. It's an investigative piece, but what I love about podcasting is that it's a beautiful sandbox to play around in creatively. So it's an artistic endeavor to be sure, married to a really gripping investigative piece of journalism and storytelling. So like I said, I'm super super proud of it. Um, and so I I want to ask stuff, but I don't want to give it away. So let's
I know
just
that's been a hard thing in doing interviews.
yeah,
And I don't, and that's my worry. That's my hesitancy is when you ask what I'm feeling right now is that I feel the pressure to get it right for people like Norma and people like Star
sure,
and the investigators and it's such a sprawling story that you end up getting like, whoa, when I'm
yeah.
talking and I want to do them justice. I want to do the best I possibly can. But I guess at the end of the day, I just have to I can only do, you know, I can only just, whatever.
Well,
I'm just
we're lucky. We had a great creative team, making
mhm.
sure there aren't any loose ends. So I mean,
Yeah.
really making sure that there are no loose ends.
Oh, I know. I know.
But
We've
that's good.
we've
We're lucky to. I know we're lucky. We're
I know,
lucky
I
to have
know,
them.
I know.
Yep.
What
And
did you think? I know that you have felt like you've said to me, I feel like I've been a really good partner to you. I've learned how to be a good partner to you, through this process because
yeah,
it's been such a like what has that been like for you to because you're like a renegade creator. You
sure.
like to it goes kind of counter to, I
To this
think
process, big time, big time.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
my
talk about that a little bit.
my creed has been a Steve Jobs quote that artists lead and hacks ask for a show of hands. Okay, right? So, um, but basically that I could distill that into just trust my creative instincts. And if people don't like it, that's cool. That's what art is. By the time someone's not liking something I've done, I'm already on to the next thing, right? And so it doesn't really bother me. Um, this was a very different process. It's the first time for me, where almost everything was a show of hands. You has a lot of opinions from a very diverse group of creators, very diverse
Mhm,
group of creators.
mhm,
And the one through line through it all was they were all 100% committed to what they thought was the best for it. Okay, so and even if we didn't agree, or someone was crazy, or someone was really passionate about their idea, right? It doesn't take away from the authenticity of what they were saying. Okay, it just maybe didn't jive with us. Okay, which is fine. But eventually, after 2 or 3, I would go into those meetings and I went, okay, we're all friends. I have no enemies in this room. I can trust that they all have in mind what's best for the show. And honestly, begrudgingly, the show's better for it. So
Yeah.
it is. It definitely is. So it was a learning process for me. It was, I had to play nice. But it was I'm going to look back on it fondly, and I would jump into the fray with them again anytime on a show. With that team.
I think that's good. I mean, I
wouldn't
think
you?
it's good to, I think that yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, again, like going back to, I absolutely trust you. So when you were telling me to do that thing with Pillsbury and I was ready to poke your eyes out, I was ready to like, I couldn't get there. And then I was like, so then when you bring in a whole round table of people and you're like, they don't know you, you don't know them, then, it takes a trust, but what's so cool, Branden, is I think that everybody cares. They care about these stories. That's KSL. They put the money into, and Lemonada, the very forward-thinking, very women-centered, women-focused.
We have great partners,
and
great
so
partners on this.
Great partners. And I think that, I hope that people, our listeners for Criminal Mischief, go subscribe, and give a listen. And this story is deserving of everything that it's getting right now. So all the love
and it's one of those stories that I think following it isn't really enough, right? Like, share it with people. Even people who maybe aren't podcast listeners or who aren't into true crime.
Mm-hmm.
It's an important story. It's an important story to tell, because
why do you have to go, ugh? Like, do you just hate yourself because you sound like
because it's one of those self-aggrandizing kind of things that I really don't like to do. I don't like to label something. Right. I don't like to label something important. I like to put enough work into it where it's self-evident. But the show isn't out in the wild yet, right? And so I want to make sure that it's discovered in, the vast sea of podcast choices that you see this like beacon, this buoy out there, and know that that's where you're going to want to spend some time, because it's totally worth it. So,
well, thank you for taking this journey with me.
It was
quite
great.
The ride.
It was great. It's and then not over yet, but almost. We're almost there. And I can't wait for the show to be out there tomorrow. We're like 7 or 8 hours away from the episodes going live, so it's very, very exciting. So, Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. stolenvoicespod.com and Instagram. So Stolen
We've
Voices.
got everything. We've got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're going to have we have a YouTube channel, Stolen Voices Pod. I mean, we're going to hit, and we have
subscribe. Just hit everything.
Because
hit everything.
What's so great about podcasting is that it's now the video component. So this case, I mean, it's not like we're groundbreaking. This has already been happening, but we have so much content from so many different, and honestly, I feel like we've been teasing this for like 20 years as we've been doing our bonus content, like, Stolen Boy,
Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
But
we're there.
We have so much content.
We're there.
And so you can put it together with the pictures and the video, and you'll get to see the people and documents and like, I mean, it's just it's a real breath of, it's like when you think of the Titanic, right? And like, the story, but then you go and you see the artifacts.
Sure.
It's like it
makes it real.
Thing.
Yeah.
It makes it real. And this case is very, very real. And it's an active investigation right now.
So 50 plus years and it's still an active investigation. And
exactly. There's DNA. There could be DNA.
This podcast shook loose a lot of stuff and kind of reignited the investigation. So that's something that you should be super proud of. It's something I'm proud of. And when you go out there and listen, just make sure you listen to stuff in order, right? We're going to do our part to make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves in terms of the bonus content or the video content or the social media content. The main feed of the podcast is the home base. So check in there, listen there, and then
definitely listen there.
Yeah, and then you'll be alerted as to the bonus content. And just follow us on on YouTube and Instagram, and go to the website. And this case, it's worth your time. So, Carolyn, great work, really great work on this, and can't wait for tomorrow morning. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. Congratulations to you too. It's
thank you so much.
Right.
So, Nation, thank you for listening. Share this with everybody and get the word out for Stolen Voices of Dole Valley. And we will be back to our regular scheduled programming here on Criminal Mischief next week. So until then, stay safe. Carolyn, anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
From Pie in the Sky Media, Criminal Mischief is an EVO production, recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For EVO Creative, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.